Welcome back in. Today we're going to be discussing Travis Etienne and his 2023 fantasy outlook. Currently, he's being drafted at RB 14 or 43rd overall, which is a little bit of a decline considering not that long ago he was going as a top 12 running back. So we were starting to see a little bit of a decline here for Travis Etienne. Now, some of that is because he does have some red flags here, in his profile this year. But overall, last year as a runner, he was terrific. 1,100 rushing yards, a solid 316 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, and he was also had the eighth most touches from inside the 5 yard line last year. He was hyper efficient with 5.1 yards per carry, 16 carries to 15 plus yards, which was fifth most among all running backs. He was also 12th in breakaway run rate and 17th in yards created per touch. He was also top 10 in missed tackles forced, and he was also top 5 in rushing yards over expectation last year, according to NFL's Next Gen Stats. Now, where a lot of people are going to have a pushback with Travis Etienne is two things. One is his pass catching involvement. Last season, his 45 targets ranked 22nd among all running backs, and he only had a 7.8% target share, but he was still pretty solid with 16th in yards per route run last year. Now, obviously, one of the big elephants in the room is obviously the fact that they drafted a running back in the third round and Tank Bigsby. But I think people are overplaying Tank Bigsby. I don't think Tank Bigsby is a bad running back by any means. His 5.3 yards per carry, which was pretty good last year at Auburn, and what was a pretty bad offense, and is also with a 15% target share in that offense last year at Auburn. That is certainly something we should take into consideration, and I definitely think he's going to be involved. But let's not get it twisted. Travis Etienne is a very good runner of the football. Yes, he has a little bit of a shortcoming as a pass catcher, but we've always really known that. Like, yes, he had over 40 receptions his senior year at Clemson, but that's never really been his game. He's never really been this elite pass catcher coming. He wasn't coming out, and he's not now. I think that's being overly stated with him all of a sudden this year. Like, we're all of a sudden shocked that he wasn't some Christian McCaffrey level in terms of usage, in terms of the passing game. And while yes, that we were hoping that he was going to be a guy that was going to see this elite workload this year, that's probably just not. That doesn't really make a lot of sense, especially with Doug Peterson as the head coach. That's not something he's ever really done. He's always been kind of a little bit more of a committee guy. And I think that this is what this is probably going to be this year. But we're also describing like 2/3 of the NFL backfields. Like most running backs are in committees. Travis Etienne, and right now is where he's currently being drafted, is almost falling into the fourth round. And if that's where he ends up going, I have no problem taking him there. You can go and get your early wide receivers at this point, and then you can come back and get a Travis Etienne, maybe even as your RB2 at this point, and I have no problems with that. I think this year projecting him, I think you can easily project him for something. I think 12, 1,300 rushing yards is definitely in the range of possibilities. I think anywhere from probably 7 to 9 rushing touchdowns this year. And I think probably comes in somewhere where he was last year, 30 to 40 receptions. I think is definitely doable. And I think somewhere right around 13 and a half to 14 fantasy points per game. If he does that, he's going to be a borderline RB1 or high end RB2, and that's currently where he's being drafted. Yes, you might be considering, okay, well, I'm drafting him at a ceiling, but I think there's a chance here he falls even further because people are just seem to be out on Travis Etienne. The other issue that I do want to mention is this offensive line is really bad. Last year, they ranked 30th in terms of run blocking, according to PFF. They were 29th in adjusted line yards. They were 28th in power rank as well, but they were good against the pass. They were 4th in adjusted sack rate and 10th in pass block. Now, this year, they lost Jawan Taylor to the Kansas City Chiefs, and now Cam Robinson is suspended for the first 4 games of the season, which is also going to be a problem. But overall, this is still one of the best offenses in the league, and this is something we definitely should be looking to target. So as long as his ADP continues at least to hold where it's at, or where I think it's going to probably drop even a little bit further, where he's probably going to drop into the 4th round, and if that happens, I'm going to be a buyer of Travis Etienne at that point. I think some of the stuff is being overstated. Yes, he's not going to be heavily involved in the pass catcher, but you know what? There's a lot of other running backs that haven't been in their career either. If you look at Travis Etienne's year last year, de facto rookie season, was right there on par with guys like Nick Chubb and Jonathan Taylor. And a lot of people talk about Travis Etienne as well as being this like smaller running back, but he's 5'10", 215 pounds. I think he's a terrific running back, at least runner of the football. He's limited in terms of what he can do as a pass catcher, but overall, I still think his ceiling is still probably as a low-end RB1. So overall, I have no problem with taking him. Let me know in the comment section, though, below. What are your thoughts on Travis Etienne this year? Where are you taking him? Where do you feel comfortable taking him? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know which one of these you want me to do next. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.